Welcome back to Redline Revs. This is a year 2000 1.2 petrol Vauxhall Agila. That's exactly the same engine as a Vauxhall Corsa, and today I'm going to be doing an oil filter change. The tools I'm using are over here. I've got a oil filter wrench, which is a 76mm. I've got a oil filter chain wrench here, and my ratchet with a T45 torque screw for the sump. First thing I'm going to do is get underneath and we'll drain that oil out. Well, I don't even need to get entirely underneath it, I've just got it raised, but here's the sump. That's the sump plug. It's a T45 torque screw that you need for that, which I'm going to get in there with my ratchet. And of course I've got my catch pan here to get the oil. And you're going to want to have driven the car for a little bit just to get the oil nice and warm so it comes out a bit more easily. It's a bit tough to know when the thread is going to end, but I think we're getting close. I dropped my sump plug in there. But there you go. You can see that's some very dark, mossy oil. And we're just going to let that drain out. Filter over here, and we're going to remove that. I'm going to start with one of these oil filter removal tools and just get that over there. And then what I also have is a chain wrench, which I'm going to put over that, and I've already wrapped this around it and got it set to the right size. So I should be able to get this. See, it's starting to open up. Okay, those two tools really help me get this off, and any job is easy with the right tools. Here we have the oil filter, so just going to remove that. You can see how black and dirty it is. Filter housing cap, and I'm just going to wipe away that dirty old oil that we have in there and clean that up nicely, and also just going to grab a screwdriver. You should have a new O-ring which goes around here with your new air filter. If you do have one, take this old one off, put the new one on, put a little bit of oil around there, and then we're ready to insert the oil filter. Now what I've done is I've cleaned out the oil filter housing and taken off the old O-ring. The oil that we're going to be using is this Castrol 10W40 A3B4 part synthetic, which is what Vauxhall recommends for these engines. And the filter that we're using is a Mann filter HU 7128X. Is the fitment for this vehicle. So in here we should find the filter, which is there. We also find a new O-ring. Which is here. And first thing I'm going to do is just pull that over this. just going to dab a little bit of oil around it. Take the new oil filter, and the open part goes at the bottom, the closed part at the top, fit into there, and that's as simple as pushing it in. Before I do put that in, some bits of nice clean oil around here. Okay, and now if we come up here, I've already wiped that down in there, and now I'm just going to put my oil filter in and screw that closed. So I'm just tightening this up, and you want this gap between the oil filter cap and that metal bit at the bottom to just be closed. So I'm going to use the tools that I had before to close that up. I'm just using that gripping tool I had to tighten it by hand, and you can see the gap there will begin to close up. And it's possible to get this as tight as you need it actually by your hand, as that is. Tensioned anymore. So that's the oil filter in now. Okay, so once the oil's dripped out, just put your sump plug back on. I want to make mine nice and tight. And now what you want to do is check your oil, see if there's anything that might look like metal shavings. And then dispose of it responsibly. So once you've drained out all the oil and changed the oil filter, you just want to tightly close that sump, and then you can open up the oil filler cap and fill in some oil. I'm going to start off by wiping all of this nasty muck away. When I first saw this, I was worried it was a blown head gasket, because that's kind of how it looks when coolant's mixing with engine oil. But you've seen the rest of the oil we've just drained, and it hasn't got this color or texture. So that indicates to me, because the car's only used for short journeys, that this could just be a little bit of condensation inside the engine. So I'm just going to wipe that away from the top of the engine and from the oil filler cap, and then we should be good to start filling it with oil. Now I'm just going to fill that with some 10W40. Okay, so this car takes about 3.5 litres of oil. I'm going to pour until about the 3 litre line, and then slow down, and then probably take it off the ramps and do the last bit when it's level, so we can get an accurate reading. Okay, I poured about 3 litres of oil into her now, and what I'm going to do is take it off the ramps in a bit, and then put the last half litre in. Once it's level, then I can get an accurate reading from the dipstick. Place the oil filler cap back on, remove all of my tools, and get the car off the ramps. Okay, so now I've got the car off the ramp. I'm just going to check the oil level over here. First I'm going to wipe off what's on the dipstick. Let's get that in. And it could still do, it's about halfway in between, it could still do with that extra half that I haven't put in, so I'm going to go and give it that now. Another half litre or so of oil. Just gonna have a look and see what the dipstick says now. Like the first time. And yeah, that's pretty good. That's as much as I want to fill it. So that's it. That's how you change the oil in the oil filter on a 1.2 Vauxhall Opel Corsa Agila, an Agila A, and it's from the Corsa C generation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment, rate, subscribe.